Okay, so this is the first project that I completed. I picked up some pails from the $1 spot at Target. They were actually $3 a piece and they came with a variety of colors. I decided in order to minimize the busy look on the wall that I would go ahead and use some of the colors that were found in my fabric for my window treatments that I plan to make. So if you recall in the beginning, I picked up a couple of color samples from Home Depot, and these are the colors that I had picked up. I went ahead and I used the sample paint to paint the pails, and then I made my own chalkboard markers, chalkboard labels. I actually just used some label stickers that I had, and I did two very thin coats with chalkboard paint so that I wouldn't soggy up the paper, and I let it dry, and when I peeled it off it worked great, and I've tested it to see that it would, hold up to painting, I'm sorry, not painting, but using the chalk on it and then erasing it and then, multiple times, and so far so good. I'm really loving it, and that was a really simple project to do. Just took a little patience while I waited for the layers to dry. So this is project number 1, and I'm really happy with it, and it's housing like all the coloring type utensils. Okay, so here's the second project that I worked on. Beforehand, I was using some tiny plastic Tupperware type containers to house my little embellishments in this storage shelf, and I really wanted larger storage, so I went and picked up a 12 pack of jelly jars from Walmart. I believe they were $8.99, and in the jelly jars there were stickers that you could use to label. So I went ahead and did the same thing. I used chalkboard paint, 2 coats for the jelly jar stickers, and once that was dried I adhered them to the jars, and then within a few days I went ahead and filled the jars and was able to write the words on the sticker. The instructions on the chalkboard paint say to wait 3 days before you write on them, so that's what I did. The jar lids are currently drying. I spray painted them black to match the labels, and I'm just really pleased with the way that came out. I went ahead and transferred my embellishments into them, and I just think they're super adorable. I can't wait to see it with the lids on. And the third project that I worked on that's currently drying, it is a wall chalkboard that I plan to paint a week at a glance calendar on. I want a spot where my family can see the entire week in advance, and it will help them to remember what nights we have practices and what nights we have appointments and so forth. So, and really it's more for me. I probably should be honest. I'm a little airheaded when it comes to things that are out of sight. So therefore I thought, a larger than life week at a glance calendar, I'm not missing appointments. At least, fingers crossed, let's hope so. So just below it, I have some wood that I need to go ahead and paint. That is some very cheap trim that I bought from Home Depot. I believe they were about $3 per trim piece. I'm going to paint that white to match the furniture, and well, cut it to size first, then paint it white. I'm going to be using that same saw that I used to make the dowels for the gift wrap organizer, and this time I'm going to be using that 45-degree angle in order to kind of have that picture frame effect on this chalkboard. At first I wasn't going to frame it out, but the edges are a little messy. It did bleed through the painter's tape. Just an FYI for anyone who's working with this type of project, the chalkboard paint is super runny and it bleeds very easily through even good quality name brand tape. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and trim it out and make it look nice and crisp, because I love nice clean lines. I'm going to take my tape measure, and I'm predetermined that I need 12.5 inches between each line. So I'm going to go under, find my 12.5 inch mark, take my laser pointer, level it. Once it's level, I'm going to press down so that the mounting putty sticks to the wall. Double check that it's still level. I'm going to take my straight edge, line it up to the laser, hold it tight, get my paint marker, shake it, compress it nice and tight, and just hold it down as I go down. If I hit a couple snags in the wall, no worries, just do the best you can. Alright, and voila, nice straight line. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do to put the days of the week in. I wasn't sure if I was going to do like a stencil, if I was going to project the letters on there. I wanted it to look nice and neat. I found these little wooden chipboard letters, and so I decided that I'm just going to use those. I've had them on hand for a few years, and it's nice to be able to use what I have. And I am using the combination of the two blues sample paints, the green that I have on the wall, and some acrylic paint in purple. And all four of those colors are going to be on the wall quite a bit, so I wanted to utilize them in the chalkboard as well by painting the letters those colors. Okay, so while my letters are drying, I'm going to go ahead and hang the trim around the chalkboard. Okay, so the frame is up and the letters are still drying, so while they're drying I'll make myself busy. But once they're done, I'm going to hot glue them to the top of the calendar. Okay, the letters have all dried and I have mounted them with the hot glue. And I'm not sure if I'm going to add any more like stamps or embellishments to it, but as of right now this is complete. I'm going to move on to the next project, but I think this is so adorable. I'm really excited to use it. Okay, so the wall above my desk is now complete. I have on the left hand side some memo boards that I purchased from Walmart. They were magnetic whiteboards and they were blank. And I found the appliques, I guess you would call them, or the vinyl calendar and notepad at Kmart. They're flat, they can go right on the wall or they can go on those magnetic whiteboards. They're kind of like clings, I guess. And I loved that they matched with the design, so I went ahead and picked them up, and to my delight they were on clearance for 50% off, so I paid like a little over $5 for the two of those. And underneath of it is just a thin or smaller memo board that will hold like all the supplies I need, like my erasers and my chalk and a couple of other things. On the right hand side I got my cork board, and I wanted that near the door, which is right there, because I wanted the kids, you know, if they ever needed to like hang something up like an FYI, or you know, if they're in a rush, it's just easier for it to be near the door, myself included. And of course everyone's allowed in here. It just, you know, for convenience sake I thought I would put that on that side. And I eventually want to cover those with fabric, because as you utilize corkboard more and more, the holes start to get unsightly. And normally I would cover up the corkboard with fabric, but I just didn't have any on hand that I liked enough to cover that up with. So the next time I'm out and about, if I see any cute colors in the remnants section, I'll be sure to pick it up. That way I can come home, remove those, dress it up a little bit, maybe add some ribbon, you know, just give it a little flair. But I'm really, really excited about this wall. I just think it's so cute. It makes me happy. It makes me want to plan. It makes me want to stay organized. On top of the desk, I went ahead and purchased that long piece of melamine. Unfortunately, they did not have a piece that was long enough for the whole span there. That was 108 inches, and the longest one they had was 96 inches. But it was wide enough to go from the wall to the front of the cubes. And it leaves me a little bit of space on each side, you know, if I want to put anything there, or I could just leave it blank. It doesn't really matter. But the nice thing about that is it gives me one smooth, consistent desktop, as opposed to, you know, the broken up cube lines that would have been there had I not covered it up. And anyway, I did that as well on Victoria's side. I'm just really excited. I'm getting down to the home stretch. I've got a lot of organizing to do inside of the cubes, but that's the fun and easy part. The biggest challenges was were the wall art placements, hanging everything up to where it was level, you know, just the details and things like that. Those are the most fun things for me, but they're certainly the most tedious. And but I'm really, really happy because I think that the planning paid off well, and I just think it's super cute. So anyway, I know I said it like 100 times, but I still can't get over the newness and the novelty of it all. It's great. Can't wait to use it.